This story about the leases, this is really exciting. Maybe it's not that exciting, but it just goes to show you the importance of who gets to fill the federal judiciary. We're going to be talking about the Supreme Court, but there are hundreds of other federal judges. The Biden administration has put 45, I believe it is, maybe 42 federal judges on the bench. Those are lifetime appointments. They did so in the fastest amount of time that we've seen that many judges put on the bench. There's another 40 that have already been nominated, so they're in the pipeline. The Dick Durbin, the chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee, has followed his Republican counterparts' lead from when they had the majority, which is to ignore blue slips. Patrick Leahy did not do this. He reinstated blue slips. Blue slips are just basically these chits that the home senators have when you're appointing a judge in a district or a circuit, I should say. The senators from that state, just as a Senate tradition, because how can we make this even less democratic than it is, could say, I don't like that judge, and I'm not going to give you my blue slip. And even though it was not even a rule, it's just a tradition. After the Republicans had refused to honor blue slips, Patrick Leahy reinstated it because he wanted Senate comity. And then Durbin, when he became chair of the judiciary, he's ignoring those. Good for him. One other precedent set by the Republicans, they're batch confirming these people now. So you're seeing 4 or 5 judges being confirmed at a time. This judge, Rudolph Contreras, U.S. District Court judge for the District of Columbia, is an Obama appointee from 2012. He canceled the oil and gas leases of more than 80 million acres in the Gulf of Mexico. You'll recall that when Joe Biden campaigned in 2020, he said that he was going to stop drilling on federal lands, period, he said, when he was in New Hampshire. Shortly after office, he signed an executive order to pause the issuing of the leases. Then Republican attorney generals from 18 states sued. Federal judge in Louisiana blocked that order and ruled that the administration must hold the lease sales in the Gulf that had already been scheduled. Now, the administration could have tried to play hardball here. And by hardball, I don't mean that they would have said something. They could have just not done it.
Yeah, there had to be like this auction process by which the leases could be distributed to the people who are going to do the drilling. And the Biden administration could have just been like, yeah, we're going to hold that in. Right.
We have scheduling problems
30,
or
55,
whatnot.
Yeah.
And now, at that point, Deb Haaland would have supposedly been held in contempt. However, environmental groups countersued, and they said that the way that the Interior Department under the Trump administration was assessing whether these federal lands were eligible to be leased for oil and gas exploration or drilling was outdated. And so the lawsuit alleged that additional drilling in the Gulf would not increase greenhouse gas emissions based upon the measure in which they used it. Like, apparently they just would, like, do you see any? No? Okay, then there's not there, or something to that effect. The analysis did not include, according to these environmental groups who sued, new information about the impact of offshore drilling on rising global temperatures. And the judge said in his ruling that the Interior Department acted arbitrarily and capriciously in excluding foreign consumption from their greenhouse gas emission. In other words, you can't decide, well, it's not going to raise greenhouse emission because we're going to sell this gas. It doesn't make any sense.
Don't you know, greenhouse gas emissions, they can't cross the wall.
Yeah, no, they're not American. So it was required to do so under the 1970 National Environmental Policy Act, or NEPA, says the government must consider ecological damage when deciding whether to permit drilling and construction projects. Now, theoretically, the Biden administration, it seems to me, could have had Deb Haaland run this. I mean, we saw all the stuff that the foot dragging that we saw with the Keystone XL pipeline to work in the other direction. They could have done it this way. They didn't, and a federal judge has basically enjoined it. And I should say, though, this is sad. This part is sad. And let me do this. Scott Lauerman, spokesman for the American Petroleum Institute, which represents oil and gas companies, said in a statement,
"Oh no.
We're reviewing this disappointing decision, considering our options. Offshore energy development plays a critical role in strengthening our nation's economy and energy security." So, sorry, Scott.
It pays me.
And pays me. And coincidentally pays me.
He left that part out.
Exhibit number 5,010 million of why judges are so important. So important. I mean, frankly, it remains to be seen if they'll pass anything from the Build Back Better. Pramila Jayapal seems to be aware of what Manchin has signed off on and wants to just pass those things and do other stuff extant. Things like universal pre-K, a couple other things I don't have right in front of me.
I wrote it down. $550 billion in climate provisions. He's in favor of the elder care parts, according to her, the child care, the universal pre-K, all that kind of stuff. But no of child tax credit. Of course, that's done.
All right. And so, those things in themselves, material benefits to people, get them passed. But beyond that, it is quite clear that the Senate is not going to allow any type of major legislation beyond, if that. And so the real reason to hold the Senate, and the reason why it's so crucial, far more crucial than holding both houses at this point with Manchin and Sinema there, is because of Biden's ability to appoint judges. That is it.